Hello and welcome to this new blog post where I want to try another approach for analyzing whether AI can make you rich. So, as I said, this is the second approach. In the first approach, I did a blog post where I analyzed exchange rates and whether to invest money in currencies and bet on them. What did I use there? Well, I used the forecast model. I got a very high R squared. I was really enthusiastic to get rich with that, but at the end of the day, it did not work. Because there are some events that were just not covered in my model, and at the end, I would have lost money. But now, today, I thought, hey, let's give it another try. Let's try something different to see how we can get rich with AI. So I will give you first an overview of the ideas that I had. Then I will show you the different approaches. Then I will give you a demo, show you the results, and I will close with a summary. So let's get started with the idea how to get rich. Well, it's basically a very simple idea. I thought, hey, if I want to get rich, I use publicly available information because I do not want to spend money, but rather I would like to use information that is publicly available to save money. Maybe let's use some information on a website like Yahoo Finance or something else. Whether we should invest in shares or de-invest, sell shares. And then use the Power Platform to see whether this makes sense or not. So how did I do that? Well, I used different approaches because I did not trust all of them at the beginning, and I thought, hey, maybe I need different approaches. So the first one that I did is I said, okay, hey, use an HTTP connector to connect to OpenAI, and ask OpenAI, whether to invest in shares or not, and if so, what shares OpenAI can recommend for me. Then the second idea was, hey, use an RPA flow, to extract information from Yahoo Finance from the website, and then to see whether we can invest in something or not. The third approach was to use a financial newsletter. I tried the Yahoo Finance one, but I somehow did not get it. So I used the financial newsletter from Stock Analysis to see whether the information stated there can help me making investment decisions. And finally, I used Copilot Studio to ask the question against this website, what to invest in. And then I used a flow to fill it into a table. Okay, now after this short intro, let's have a look at the different approaches and how I realized that by looking into my demo system. Okay, so we are here in my demo system. Here's my first flow, and this flow is basically connecting to OpenAI and ask a question whether to invest or not. The question that I ask is basically here based on the latest financial news, blah blah blah. I hand it over, and then my expectation is to get an investment decision. And this time, you see that I get something. It says invest in Apple, invest in Microsoft, invest in Google, and so on. And if you scroll down a bit, I also get the investment decisions. For example, Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble. So that's what I expected. And then I have some conditions inside, whether I get a feedback or not. Then I fill this in a table. And the table is basically a custom table that holds this record. So here is the date of today. And you see I filled these values. Okay, and then of course we need the prices. And to fill the prices, I did the following. I have a second flow to make it easier for me. I basically take timestamps. I get all the stocks that I have listed. And then I first search for the currency symbol. How do I do that? Well, there is a website on Finance Yahoo where you can search for the finance symbol. Once you have that, you can ask for the stock price. And once you have that, you can update the row. And that's what I did here. Maybe let's refresh that. Then there should be all of these values hopefully filled. So if you get down, you see that all of these values are filled based on the name and symbol that was found. So that was my first try to make a smart analysis. And what you can see here are different columns. So I have the current price, the price on the next day, 3 days, and 7 days after. So it's a short investment horizon, but at least I wanted to have a first check whether this makes sense or not. Then the second approach that I showed you with the RPA flow, that did not work for me. And I will show you later on in the PowerPoint why it did not work. So let's directly jump to the third approach. And what I used here is this market bulletin or newsletter that I get. And you see here some information about stocks and market news. I grab this information in a flow. So that's my flow. I grab it. I prepare the data with a prompt. I say, okay, analyze it. So here's my prompt. Analyze it and then give me a feedback whether to invest or not. And if you have no recommendation, say I don't have a recommendation. And based on the feedback, again, I have some conversions. And then if you see here, I add a new row. I basically add a new row in this table if something was found. So this is a different investment table for my version here. And you can see here BYD, SpaceX, Ford, whatever they found, it is just put it here. And again, I have a second flow that is doing the same as in the first case. It basically checks the company symbol, it checks the stock price and then fills the table. So very easy. And then the last approach that I was taking was to use Copilot Studio. And I created a topic. I said, okay, here is a trigger. If I say Yahoo Finance Analysis, then it goes here into generative answers. And in generative answers, I put some knowledge. So Yahoo Finance News. And I said, okay, let's check this, whether you can find an investment decision or not. I have a flow here. Why? Because the feedback that comes from here is then used in this flow. This is this flow. I grab the information. I prepare it again with an AI prompt to summarize the result. And depending on what I get, I fill a row here in Dataverse. This is a third table. This is this table here, where I basically get an information whether to invest or not invest. And then again, the last step is to to have a price update, a price check of the different stocks that I have here in this table. And then depending on whether this is the current day, the next day, day plus 3 or day plus 7, I have here different prices. So that's the whole thing that I did. And now, of course, you might be interested, how did I go? Did I make money with that? Theoretically, because I did not invest in that, or not. And that's something I summarized in my PowerPoint. So let's go back and see whether we can get rich with these approaches or not. Okay, so after the demo, here a short summary. First, the first approach, where I used the HTTP connector to OpenAI, asking what stocks would be good investments. That one did not reliably create me investment recommendations. Many times when I run the flow, basically I get an answer, hey, I cannot make recommendations. You should check other websites and be careful. So sometimes I get a result, sometimes not. And that was not reliable for me. But nevertheless, if I would take what I got and analyze the changes, the average stock price changes after 7 days, I would have made a profit of 1.2%. So this is the stock price increase on average after 7 days compared to the day when the recommendation was made. Whether you can really get rich with that is another question, because you also have fees and other costs related to that. Then the second approach that I mentioned and that I did not show you in the demo was this RPA flow. Why didn't I show you that? Well, I gave up on that. And the reason is simple, because if I looked at this website, sometimes I got pop-up messages. Sometimes I got here advertisements over and over, and everything was kind of changing many times. And then I said, hey, that's not working for me. That's too much work. And at the end of the day, the investment decisions might not be that smart. So I gave up on that and said, no, that's not an option. The third option was to use the newsletter that I get on a daily basis. And here I had the feeling that I get too many recommendations. Many times I get 10, 15 stock recommendations on a day. And I found, hey, that's that's too much because you always have admin and brokerage fees. And if you invest and de-invest on a daily basis, well, that's costly. And also the average stock price after 7 days was lower than the price on day 0 when the investment decision was made. So that's probably not a good idea to invest. And one of the reasons might be that this kind of bulletin or summary that you get on a daily basis is just too late. And the important price information is already incorporated in the stock prices. So if you invest the next day, then you're just too late. The last thing was with the Copilot, where I basically asked or triggered a question against Yahoo Finance whether to invest or not. This was quite okay. It was really reliable, provided me some recommendations. And if I look at the results, after 7 days, I got a profit of 0.4%, from a pure price change perspective. Whether you can get rich with that, well, requires basically some additional investigation. So at the end of the day, what is my summary? So here are the 4 approaches that I took. With the first one, OpenAI, I would say, okay, maybe you can get rich, but we need more data. With Yahoo Finance and RPA flows, I did not get happy. The same with this news bulletin, because I feel that you're just too late. And with Copilot Studio, well, you can try. It's not automated because you actively have to ask, or you have to set up a kind of automation that basically is doing that for you. But, well, it also depends whether you get some valuable investment decision. So what is needed is, well, we need more data. We need longer time periods to really see whether you can make profit or not. And what I would like to highlight is this test is not representative. So I just used 7 days, which is a very short investment horizon. So we should take a longer approach or look at the data. And maybe you can do that. And also what would be needed is the comparison with a human investment manager. Okay, but that's something that is out of the scope of this short video. And if you have questions or comments or have similar investment decisions made, and maybe you have realized that already, put it in the comments, send me an email. Would be happy to see what you're doing there. So at the end, thanks for watching and listening, and I keep my fingers crossed that you get rich with AI.